Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Annette, and you are on live on So Junkie. So you are so welcome. I was thinking, what can we discuss on this live today? And one thing that came to my mind out of so many ideas was talking about sewing necessities. You know, learning basic sewing skills is estimated to take about 2 to 3 weeks. Like if you're sewing for the first time, it will take you about 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks to get a hang of how the sewing um work actually go. I'm not talking about attending a fashion school. I'm talking about just learning sewing for yourself, by yourself. You understand? With maybe some sewing resources on the online space, or even going to a physical store where you can learn basic sewing. At least for the first 1 2 3 weeks, you should be um a little bit good in sewing. You should be able to make some proper dresses or proper and easy to sew outfits. So please, it's so good to be here. I believe the first time we did our live was on Monday, and we made a dress on the live program. So please, if this is your first time here, please subscribe to our channel, give us a like. If whatever content we are putting out there for your viewing pleasure and for your learning pleasure, it's something you would appreciate and love to keep learning. So thank you for joining us. Grace, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Grace, for joining us. So the next, I just put a little things together to show you what you need to know on this learning journey is patience. You have to learn patience. You have to learn patience. You have to learn commitment, and most especially, just like every other thing else, you have to learn to be consistent. Like I always say in most of my video, if you want to actually be good at something, you have to learn to practice. Like practice makes perfect. That is not just a saying on its own. Yes, it's a saying, but it is a saying that applies to human being. It is a saying that applies to every form of craft or everything and anything you do in life. So when they say practice makes perfect, it means if you learn something today, you have to practice it again, practice it again. You see that the more you do it, the more you are going to be seeing differences. You see differences at every time you try whatever you're doing out, whatever you are practicing. If you tried it for the first time, you see that by the second time you are trying it, you are getting better at it. So that's what it means to be perfect. So on this sewing journey, you want to be a sewing person. You want to learn how to sew. Please, you have to learn to be consistent. You have to learn to be consistent. You have to learn to do this. You have to learn to put in the work. I know you understand what I'm trying to say. It is not easy, so to say, but once you get the hang of it, you have to keep doing it. Once you keep doing it, you see that you eventually you start making progress, and I believe you definitely enjoy the progress as you go. Being able to make clothes for yourself is something that should give you pleasure. The way I started, it was just, I was so just look at me. I have 2 kids now, and I'm still this slender. It is just, I think it's mostly my nature. And just imagine few years back when I started sewing, most times tailors won't know how to just give me the exact design that I want for my body shape, and that really gave me reason to think about sewing. That's how I got into sewing. So if you are getting into sewing, you should have a reason why you are getting into sewing, and you should definitely be consistent in practicing whatever you are learning. So the next thing I want to tell you is that even if you don't want to go into sewing full time, but like I will always advise people, sewing, if you are asked after you are done with college and you are asked what you want to do, I always advise people that the best skill, the most life-saving skill that you should learn is sewing. Sewing, you can practically save so much just by sewing for yourself and for others, just because you learned how to sew. You can make curtains, you can make clothes for yourself, you can sew bags, you can sew a lot of things. You can do interior designs for your house. That's how profitable learning the sewing skill is. And I remember back in secondary school that home economics was a compulsory subject for everybody. And I believe because government understands that sewing is a life skill that everyone should learn. Sewing is a life skill just like cooking. Sewing will benefit you and those around you. So if you are looking for skill to learn, sewing is definitely something that you should consider. But this entire thing is not about convincing you that sewing is something you should be doing. This entire video today is about showing you sewing necessities. Now you are at a point where you want to decide, should it be sewing or should it be something else, or should I sew or should I not sew, or should I go into hair making? You can do all of those, you can choose. So now if you make the decision to actually get into sewing, what the next step will be you asking, if I want to get into sewing, what are the necessities? What do I need? What do I need for my sewing journey? What do I need to start this venture into the sewing space? And that's why the video today is being made. That's the reason for today's video. Learning, getting to know what you need to know, or what you need to make your sewing lessons easy, or your sewing journey easy. You are welcome again to Sew Junkies. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and if you haven't liked, please like and comment, you to show that you are enjoying what we are doing. So don't forget, there, apart from sewing clothes, you as someone who knows how to use the machine, or who knows how to use your needle, sewing, you can make clothes. Like I said earlier, you can do some other craft, you can go into embroidery, you can go into accessories designing, and a lot of things. You can go into making of interior things like curtains, your throw pillows and all that. So basically, having a sewing knowledge is something you would really want to add to your numerous skills. Thank you for watching. Keep watching. So, the first on our list of sewing necessities is sewing machines. Yes, right. The evolution of sewing has gotten to the point where you will need sewing machine. Yes, in emergency cases where you don't have sewing machine, you could quickly do some running stitches, maybe to you have a tear or a loose seam somewhere. You can actually just use your needle. But right now, if you want to make clothes, full clothing or other things, you need your sewing machine. And for the sewing machine, I'll be showing you. You can see at that upper part, That's a tabletop machine. It is an electric machine. It is an that's a tabletop machine. It is an electric machine. It only works with light. So if you are someone in a developing country like ours, Nigeria, where power is mostly epileptic, you would consider using an alternative sewing machine. But if you are in a more stable area where you have light, constant power, you can, I believe you have more of those than the other manual sewing machine that I'll be showing you a bit. In Nigeria, we have those, you can buy those, and it works with your generator. So if you are the lazy sewist that doesn't really like to strain yourself, this one is a better alternative. You can get it, and it is easy to use. You don't have to do any stressful pedaling. You just plug it to the electric socket and it starts working. As long as you getting actually knowing how to use the sewing machine won't take you up to a day to actually know how to use it. So I don't, you get what I'm trying to explain. It is just to plug it to the light and match the pedal. There is no going back and forth like the normal butterfly domestic machine that we have everywhere scattered in Nigeria. So that's an electric tabletop machine. So you can use it, you can buy it, you can that's an alternative. That's one. The other type of sewing machine is this butterfly sewing machine. It is the sewing machine. It is mostly common in Nigeria. It has a, you can see it has leg for pedaling. You just pedal. This is the one of the most common sewing machines in Nigeria, and this is because, like I said, because of the light issue in Nigeria, we have we usually don't have light. So as a result, this one is very common. It works without light. You can work from now to for 24 hours and you won't have any issue unless there's a breakdown on the machine. The machine needs repair or servicing, but it can work all throughout. Then the next one is industrial machine. If you are looking to make tailoring your full-time business, this is an industrial machine. It has different type. This one is a straight sewing machine. It only sews straight. You plug it to the light and it has something, the pedal at the bottom that you just match and it works. So the next is this one is not a sewing machine. This one is an industrial weaving machine. This one is an industrial weaving machine. This is what you use to weave the rough edges. So this is plugged to light, and this is for those looking to make tailoring a full-time job and not just a side hustle. The next one is this manual machine. This manual weaving machine, you actually use a leg. You just pedal and it weaves your clothes. That's about it for that. There are still other types of sewing machines that you can check out yourself. So that's about it for sewing machine. There are a whole lot of other types of sewing machine. So for tabletop machine, it does a lot of design. There are some that are just sew only straight, while there are some that sews only zigzag, and there are the one you would need for a beginner, for someone who is just showing interest in sewing, is that one that can do more than one stitch. It can do zigzag, can do straight, and it can do a whole lot buttonhole and all that. But if most times that electric sewing machine is cheaper than the, it's more expensive depending on the market value, and depending if you are buying a used one from the flea market or you are buying a new one. If you are buying a used tabletop machine, it is far cheaper than buying a manual butterfly sewing machine. I hope you got that. Please give us a like if you see this video, if you watch this live and it really interests you. So like I said, I showed you three major types of sewing machine available at our disposal that you could choose from as a beginner in sewing. I showed you the tabletop sewing machine. I showed you the domestic manual machine, and most times in Nigeria they call it butterfly. Butterfly is a brand, but it is a manual sewing machine. Doesn't You can still connect it. You can buy a motor press and connect it to light, but it is a straight sewing machine. Then I also showed you the lock stitch machine, the straight sewing industrial machine, and I told you that that particular machine is for those looking to get into tailoring, sewing as a business. So if you're looking to get into sewing as a business and not just a hobby or something to pass time, you can just stay away. You can get that one. It's a bit pricey, but it is definitely what it will definitely be worth the money, and it will definitely save you time. The time you are using to do kpaka 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 on the manual machine, you can actually do a whole lot more work with the industrial machine. But if you are a beginner, you either get the butterfly manual machine, or you get that tabletop machine when if you have access to good supply of power. So, and the next thing I also showed you is the weaving machines. We have the manual weaving machine and we have the industrial weaving machine. The industrial weaving machine also uses light, while the manual weaving machine can work without light. Do you understand? But if you also want to connect it to light, you can also buy motor just for it, just like you buy for the straight. I hope you get what I'm saying. When you are buying that domestic machine, it comes with what they call motor press. That motor press helps you just use it with light. When you have light, you just connect with light and you just press. There's no need to pedal up, down, back, forth, back, forth. But when there's no light, you can use it without light. So we mostly use it without light. Even at night, you can do your sewing, but sometimes it can be very noisy. I believe it's setting and aging that causes it to make that much noise. So we are through with the machines you need even as a beginner, so you can make your choice from those machines, because you wouldn't want to we want to get into sewing, though you can do without the weaving machine. Some people, they make their clothes and they don't weave. They will say, now only me dey see am, like I'm the only one seeing what's inside, the outside is the most important. No, don't start out like that. If you can afford to get a weaving machine, please do get it. It will help you, or you can take it to industrial tailors that actually do the weaving and you pay them. So if you can't afford that, you can just stick to getting a straight sewing machine. So the next on our list for sewing necessities are our scissors. We have different types of scissors. You by now you should know that we have different types of scissors. There's electric scissors. There's electric scissors where you just plug it to the electric socket, and then you just put it on the cloth. You, without doing chop 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 chop, it will just be cutting on its own. There's industrial scissors that cut fabric in box. So we have a lot of scissors, but for a basic sewing person, for someone who is just recently interested in sewing, there are scissors that you would need. Necessities, don't forget, what we're concerned about is necessities, sewing necessities for beginners, sewing necessities for someone who is just newly having interest in sewing. So this is a straight cutting scissors. You can see it's big. It comes in different sizes. It can be small, it can be big, but the most important thing is your fabric scissors has to be sharp, and it has to be you don't use your fabric scissors to cut something else like paper or attachment or a nylon or something else. Your fabric scissors should just be for your fabric. If you have to put a lock so that someone else in your house, your siblings, your children, will not mess with your scissors, you should, because once you start using it to cut. So the next thing is your zigzag scissors. The next thing is your zigzag scissors. they call it shear scissors, or some people call it pinky shears. So but we call it zigzag scissors. So once you cut out, I'm just trying to give you a good idea or example, or see what I'm doing. You see the, you can see the cutting is not straight, it is zigzag. That's why they call it zag sewing machine. It will be very important to you when you are working with stretchy fabrics. So in order for you not to weave the stretchy fabric, you just use this particular scissors to cut it out. Then this one is my paper scissors. I use it for my paper when I'm doing pattern, when I'm drafting out pattern. I use these scissors for my paper. So like I explained to you, using fabric scissors to cut your paper in the long run will destroy the scissors. So in order to save, protect the sanity of this your fabric scissors, please always use your fabric scissors for your fabric and use your paper scissors for your paper. Then you can have scissors for your thread. You know, while in the sewing machine you are sewing, you should have your scissors in hand, very handy or close by, so that by the time you're done with every stitching, you are cutting it out with scissors. You can have another one of this size or a smaller one. There's actually another one that is pointy. It's very pointy. It's for snipping of a thread, so you can get that one too. So that's it for scissors. The other thing you would need are pins. You see, pins are very important. And it is advisable. This one is quite cheaper to get. There are other ones that has designs on the pin. Some are stars, some have stud at the top part of the pin, but they do the same job. So but you need pin is like a necessity, especially for beginner, because at some point you get frustrated when trying to sew two lines together and it's slipping off. Every time you want to sew, it slips off. But once you pin together before getting to the sewing machine, you just see that it is just very easy. It just stays in place while you um manage to do the sewing. So that's why pin, they will say pin is a tailor's best friend. Like, if you are new to sewing, it's very important. You know now, as new as old tailors or fashion designer, we have become um over sabi people that we think sometimes we don't need this pin. If you are used to using pin, if you have been sewing for a long time and you've been using pin, I appreciate you. It is something that each one of us should learn and keep doing. Using pin is very important for your project. So next time you get to the market, as you are buying your sewing machine, or if you already have a sewing machine and you are doing your next project, please get a pack of pin. I know, just like spoons in your house, we are always looking for pins in our tailor shop. You definitely, that one pack can work for you for up to 6 months before you start looking for them all over again. So pin is a necessity. You need bobbin. Like one of the ways that one of the things I do when making clothes and that actually contribute to me sewing fast is that at every time I want to sew, I try as much as possible to reel, especially if my project is going to be a bulky and a long one. I try as much as possible to just reel my thread. I reel about 2 bobbins. I just reel them down. Once I'm done reeling them down, I have two. So once one finishes, I don't have to cut the thread at the top part to start reeling afresh. That saves time. So you can try that hack out when you're ready for your sewing project, just depending on how much you need to spend, how much time you need to spend on the sewing machine. You can just reel one thread or 2 bobbins down, so that you save time by switching bobbins and an empty one for a full one. So bobbins, if you're out there shopping for necessities for your sewing machine. Please always have bobbins, always had bobbins. If it's 10, if it's 5, every time you go to the market, just imagine maybe you go to the market once every month, and you buy like 5 bobbins once every month, you have like about 60 bobbins at the end of the year. With that, you won't need, okay, just imagine if these are the 4 bobbins I have in my shop, and this one is a plain color, this one is a neutral color, this one is black, this one is brown, and this one is white, and they are almost full. So if I want to make a dress that has blue, guess what I will do? I have to waste all of this fabric. I have to reel out all of these threads so that I can put the blue. But if I have spare, I won't need to do that. I'll just reel on a fresh one and use. So that's the advice I am giving to you now. So for elastic, we also need pin. This is a nappy pin, safety pin, whatever you call it. It is very important for your elastic, for your elastic, for your elastic, when you are taking your elastic through the elastic hole, like as in the tutorial I'm going to be dropping for today by 3 p.m. You just take, this is what you use to pass your elastic through. This is a tiny elastic, we call it tiny elastic, but it's also ½ inch wide, and this one is 1 inch wide. So these are necessities, because most of our DIY will need you to use elastic, because maybe some other processes or other designs may be too tedious or may need professional training. So maybe you want to make an elastic waist short, elastic waist palazzo, an elasticated waist dress, an elastic, you need elastic. It is a necessity. Then this is hem gum. This is what we call hem gum. You need this for your finishing. So there are times you just want invisible stitching on your invisible hem for your project. Maybe the hem of a dress, the hem of a blouse, the hem of a skirt, the hem of your short. Instead of just sewing, you just iron this one on the edge of your hem, and you have a clean finishing in front. There will be no stitches showing. So it is a necessity. So the next is pliers, screwdrivers. It has different types. This one is for the industrial weaving machine, for changing of needle. So if you don't have this and your needle breaks, for the industrial weaving machine, you will not be able to. So this is a plier for that. This one is the bigger screwdriver for all your screw. You can use it for changing of needle, you can use it for changing of foot. It has 3 different sizes, and it came with my industrial machines. So if you are if you need to change some screws, there are some screws that this tiny one will not work, and there are some screws that this medium size will not work. This big one has to be the one to do the job. So you need these 3 different sizes, and thankfully enough, most of the sewing machines, they come with either of them or all of them. My industrial machines came with 3 of them, and I'm grateful for that. Then this one is size 7, 6 by 7, or 6 or 7, they call it 6-7. So this one is to change the needle for my domestic weaving machine. So you need this, these are like necessities. You should understand by now why they are necessities. Like, they are necessities because if you want to use the sewing machine, you should have this readily available. If not, if anything while you are sewing and something happens that you need to unscrew your knot to check what's going on, because it's not all the time you will call an engineer. It could be just something minor that you can actually fix by yourself. Like, for the longest possible time, as long I've been sewing, I have opened my machines, cleaned them up, serviced them myself, and sometimes it's very, very, it's something I do because I want to do them. Why sometimes while sewing, I just noticed that this machine wasn't working properly. And just imagine what came in handy. These screwdrivers, they are really helpful, and they are definitely necessities. So, is needle necessity or not? Definitely, it's a necessity, and it has different sizes. You have size 14, you have size 12, you have size 16. So, the higher you go on the numbers, the thicker the fabric, the thicker the needle can make. So, for those into upholstery, they use 20, they use 18, they use, if you want to make jean, you can use 18, like that. So, depending on your country, you have attached to your needle numbers attached to your needles, like so, and it comes in 10 pieces. So if you are a beginner, you are definitely going to want to have about 3 sizes. Maybe when you are sewing a light weight fabric, you can use size 12 or size 10 or 12. But for us, I think the lowest size we use is size 14 for for our manual domestic machine in Nigeria. We use size 14 for lightweight fabric. Then for medium weight fabric like Ankara, light cotton, we use size 16. Even size 14 can do the job very well for those what's it called, for those clothes. So for those sewing, size 14, size 16 can do the job very well. So then for thicker fabric like jeans, like what's it called, like jeans, like upholstery leather, you can use higher sizes, size 20, size, as it goes. So if you are buying, you can buy the 3 different sizes. You can be in the mood to sew a jean, you can be in the mood to sew chiffon, you can be in the mood to just make an Ankara skirt, an Ankara outfit like what I'm wearing, and you need the different sizes to do a perfect job for you. The next thing is rulers. This is my curve rule. This is my curve rule. I use it for my armhole curve, I use it for my trouser curve. It gives me perfect curves. I have straight rule too. This one is called yastic. I always did wonder, what is the yastic, what is the yastic? I always did wonder, what do they mean by yastic? I got to find out with logical reasoning that it's a yard. This entire stick is 1 yard. So I got to figure it out that this is a yard and it is a stick. Together it is yardstick. Yes, it is. This is a yardstick. Yardstick. Just some English you just thought was, well, that's how they say it. You really have not been able to figure out why and the in-depth meaning. So as you grow older in life, you just, even without somebody telling you, you just got to, like, your brain just did a functional upgrade, and you're like, wow, this is what they've been saying all this while. That's what happens to me with this yardstick. It is 1 yard and it is a stick. You really need it for those long length projects that you might have or you might want to do. So this one is a curve rule too. It is my trouser a ruler, and this is my armhole ruler. You can see the difference. So I use this one for armhole. I use it for trouser too. Most times it's what I use so often. This one is for trouser curve. You can see the curve is lighter. You can use it for your hip curve and all that. So you can use it for a whole lot of curves. So there are other types of rulers that I may not be able to cover in this short tutoring, in this short what am I going to call it now, a tutorial. Is it a tutorial? No, what should I call it? Okay, whatever. Please, you can give it the name or title that you like, but for us it is sewing necessities. So the next thing is there a person who sews without thread, definitely not. Or maybe the person is going to use um gum. You can gum to fabric together. It's possible. There's really nothing that people can't do. When you are creative, you can actually create your own style, create your own design, and create your own processes. You can decide that your process will not include a thread because you want to save the green earth. You can decide, okay, you are just going to use I don't want to tell you what just came to my mind, but what I'm saying is necessity as a soul, a soulmate or a sewist is thread. You see, I have a basket full of it, and I have a shelf full of the larger size of thread. Like I said, for sewing, you need cotton threads. These are cotton thread in different degrees and in different sizes. So most times for those going into sewing full time, this one is far more economical than this one. So let's assume this one is like a 200 naira and this one is 1000 naira. This one might finish in after 2 or 3 projects, and you get to use this one for like 20 of the same project. So use your economic sense, like your economic sense, your managing sense. This one is more economical. But the disadvantage is, for someone who is just getting into sewing, you may not have a lot of projects, or you may not even have the time to actually use the sewing machine often. So this one, if you are not sewing often, there's no need wasting your cash on this. You can just get the smaller size of thread. It's still a bit, it's still much. So for every, you can buy black for this one, maybe because black is a color that you can use for most of your projects. Like these are two different Ankara fabric. Now you can see black, you can use black thread, you can also use black thread. So black is something that you can use often. So if you are trying to be economical and at the same time be logical, you can buy color black for this. Just imagine buying this color for that big trade, and you are not an industrial tailor. What are you going to do with it? I don't know. Like you, the trend will just be there for years, like 5 years, 6 years. I don't understand. Why tie down your money? Why waste money? And at the end of the day, maybe your child plays to that place, or someone close to you falls the trade and it gets scattered. Like you cannot fix it. It's it's not something that would really be of any interest to you if you are using colors. If you want it in other colors, just get these smaller sizes and in different colors. So it has, I guess, some threads are more tiny, so those ones also have their own clothes to make. Like for tiny fabric, lightweight fabric, you can use tiny out threads, but for in our market we mostly use anyone we see, as long as it is a matching color, while some sewing machine do select thread and needle. I guess it is the setting. So that's that for trades. Then the other thing that you might also need, that you need too, is iron. Iron. You can see this is iron. You can iron your clothes. Okay, this is iron. This is an industrial steam iron. This also right here is also a steam iron. So we have different iron. You can get the one that is easy for you to use. So you can get the one that is easy for you to use. Steam iron. Steam iron is important because the steam helps your fabric to actually relax more. So for if you are someone just getting into sewing, you can skip the industrial iron and just go straight to a normal small iron. this iron, you can also add water. This iron, you can also add water, and it also does a steam pressing. So that one is an industrial iron, but this one is normal regular household that you can have. It's very important that you press your work, that you press projects when you are working. So even if you've learned the act of sewing without iron, you still need iron to give it that final touch, to give your final look a great an overall outlook. So when someone is teaching, it's not just because it is rumpled. It's not just because it is rumpled. It is because at a glance you see that the seam is not laying flat, and other is not laying flat, and other things that you did not think would be showing. So please always iron your work. Iron. I'm so sorry. I'm having connection. I'm so sorry. I'm having connection issues. So tape is very important. So like this tape in Nigeria, we use yard inches. For countries that uses what's it called, um centimeters, it is just at the back of the tape. It is on the reverse side of the tape. You definitely need a tape if you are getting into sewing. You need it, as in, like, just like you need to breathe, you need tape. You are not a tailor until you have a tape. It's like the oga patapata of the tailoring journey, of the tailoring business. And for this tape, this is the common type we have at the market. For this tape, you have is up to length 60 inches, 150 centimeters. So we have longer ones at the market now that is up to about 120 inches, 100, and that's times 2 of this entire length. So we have that at the market. I wonder, so you need me so you need me music, people. Music. Bang, bang, you need music. So it is music that will help you gain the strength, the momentum to be consistent on your sewing machine. I don't know if you get. Personally, to me, music is like the oil to my machine. Something that makes my work fun is music. This is my Bluetooth. Most times I'm always having music around because, well, life is hard. Let's not just lie. But with music, oh, life becomes easier. Yes, easier. Definitely you can try it. Some people even have fun watching movies and sewing. Please don't do that unless you are an expert, or unless you have sewn what you are sewing right now while watching the movie. You've sewn it like 1,001 times. But music is less distracting. You understand? It just gives you a clear head, gives you that positive energy that you need around you. So music is something that I always have around me. And for those who know me, at some point I have to get up from the sewing machine and just dance and just dance. I really love dancing. You will not blame me. Dancing is in my DNA. So music is really advisable. So now to the oga patapata, the most important. So the most important necessity in your sewing journey. Can you even guess? Okay, let me give you time to guess. Guess, guess, guess. Guess, guess, guess. Guess, guess. Guess, guess, guess. You you are necessary. You are loved. Like, this is not a motivational video, but I want you to see yourself as a person. Being able to do this thing on its own is a blessing. Being able to sow is a blessing. You are the most important sowing necessity. You are not a thing, you are a person, a creative person, a person who is able to create something out of scraps, something out of just fabric, and then you make it beautiful and look nice. You turn it to an outfit that can turn heads. You are the most important thing. You are the most important necessity in these sewing necessities of ours that we've listed above. You are at the top. So happy that you've stayed with us this far. So if you've watched this video, you've um joined our life, we say thank you. If you've liked it, we say thank you. We appreciate you. We really, really do appreciate your presence today. So please don't forget that on this sewing journey, I can't stress it enough. You are the most important person. When you are now available, every other thing becomes meaningful. This ruler become meaningful in my hand because I am available to make it, to use it. These scissors become useful in my hand because I am available to use it. So like I said earlier at the beginning, sewing is something, is like a life skill. It's an important life skill. It's not all the time you'll be giving out your clothes out to strangers, to tailors to make for you. If you already know how to sew and you have a sewing machine at home or even a needle and thread, you can just do some little. Next time you are thinking of additional skill to add to the catalog of skills you have, tailoring is something you should add. And Sew Junkies will be here to help you on this journey. So junkies will be here to teach you, to answer all of your tailoring questions. We'll be here to hold your hand as you go. And if you are already an experienced tailor, which of these tools did you start with? Which of these tools do you not have even as of now? Let us know in the comment section. We are so glad that you spent time with us today, and hopefully we'll do another live soon. Like I said, these are all, let us try it out, let's see how it goes. Please support us by watching our videos, give us likes, comment, let us hear your thoughts. That way we can make amends on the things we are doing wrong, and for the things we are doing right, we can keep improving on them. Thank you so much. 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 Bye.